The mysterious disappearance of Sir John Franklin and his crew is one of the most famous and enigmatic cases in the history of Arctic expeditions. In 1845, Franklin led a British expedition with two ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, with the goal of finding and traversing the Northwest Passage, a maritime route connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans through the Canadian Arctic. The expedition departed from England with 129 men on board, including Franklin himself as the leader, as well as officers, sailors, engineers, doctors, and fur hunters. However, as they advanced into the Arctic, things began to go awry. The ships became trapped in the ice in the region of King William Island, in the Victoria Strait. As months passed and the ice didn't melt enough to allow them to proceed, the crew faced dire hardships. They attempted to abandon the ships and set out on foot to the south, but the extremely harsh conditions, with intense cold, hunger, and scurvy, claimed the lives of many men. Exactly what happened to Franklin's expedition remains a mystery. Significant traces of the crew or their ships were not found during initial searches conducted in the years following their disappearance. In the subsequent years, several search expeditions were sent out in an attempt to find the lost group. In 1859, an expedition led by Francis Leopold McClintock discovered evidence of the tragedy. They found a note left at a cairn on King William Island, revealing that the ships had become icebound and that Franklin had died in June 1847. Another document indicated that Erebus and Terror were abandoned in April 1848 and that survivors attempted to walk south in search of help, but ultimately perished along the way. The Erebus and the Terror. The Erebus and the Terror were two ships used in the ill-fated Arctic expedition led by Sir John Franklin in 1845. The Erebus was a 378-ton vessel, and the Terror was slightly smaller at 331 tons. Both ships were originally bomb vessels, but they were retrofitted for polar exploration with modern enhancements of the 19th century. The crew. The expedition consisted of 129 men, including officers, sailors, engineers, doctors, and fur hunters. Among them were prominent figures like John Franklin as the expedition leader, James Fitzjames as the captain of Erebus, and Francis Crozier as the captain of Terror. While some crew members had previous experience in Arctic expeditions, many were not adequately trained for the harsh conditions of the Arctic. Provisions. The crew was provisioned for a 3-year journey into the Arctic wilderness. The supplies included 36,487 pounds of biscuits, 136,656 pounds of flour, 30,000 pounds of salted beef, pork, and canned meat. To prevent scurvy, a common affliction on long sea voyages, they carried 9,300 pounds of lemon juice as an anti-scurvy measure. However, a significant issue arose with the canned food supply. The expedition purchased canned food at a low price from a supplier named Stephen Goldner, who rushed to deliver 8,000 cans in just 7 weeks before the departure. Unfortunately, the quality of the canned food was subpar and contributed to the tragic outcome of the expedition. Rescue expedition. In May 1848, the ships HMS Investigator and HMS Enterprise set sail under the command of Sir James Ross for the search and rescue mission of the Franklin expedition. However, the rescue expedition itself soon encountered difficulties. The HMS Investigator became trapped in ice on the return journey, and the crew was forced to abandon the ship after nearly 3 years. As the search for Franklin's expedition continued, the HMS Investigator's crew faced extreme challenges and harsh conditions in the Arctic. They endured long periods of isolation, bitter cold, and limited resources. Despite their best efforts to free the ship, they were ultimately unable to do so. The crew of the HMS Investigator decided to undertake a grueling journey on foot and by boat across the ice and treacherous terrain in an attempt to reach civilization and seek help for the rest of the expedition. Their journey was arduous and took a toll on their health and spirits. Finally, after months of hardship and perseverance, the survivors of the HMS Investigator's crew managed to make their way to a remote Hudson's Bay Company outpost, where they were eventually rescued and brought back to civilization. While the rescue expedition did not find Franklin's expedition, the survivors' account of their experiences provided valuable information about the harsh Arctic conditions and the challenges faced by those attempting to navigate through the treacherous northern waters. The fate of Franklin and his crew remained a mystery for several more years until additional search efforts and discoveries shed further light on the tragic outcome of their ill-fated Arctic expedition.